So veggie soup has been eat about 3 times. Everybody's done. So I'm going to can it. So this will be the canning leftover part of veggie soup. Okay, so I'm going to heat the food up because, you know, it's been in the fridge. So heat it up. It'll be hot food. Hot jars because they are in the oven on 200, keeping them hot. And then when they're done, they'll go into a hot pressure canner, which, by the way, is running, but it's doing chicken stock and meat. So anyhow, once it's heated up, we'll get it into the hot jars, and then I'll put it in the pressure canner. Okay, so the soup's hot, the canner's hot. Get the jar out, take one out at a time, that way they're a hot fill. And ladle it and put the jar in. We're going to fill it up to 1 inch of head space. Preferably not make a mess, but that don't seem to be what's happening for me here. Okay, this is about 1 inch here. You see this here ring, the thread here, it goes around. This is about 1/8 an inch. You know, you get down quarter, blah, 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 whatever, 1/2 inch. And then this line here is generally about 1 inch, burnt me, of headspace. And then you need to have 1 inch of headspace in it. If it's a little bit more, that's okay. A little bit less, try not to. I mean, it'll be fine, hopefully. Anyhow, so I got the jar filled up with the funnel so that this isn't a mess. Then you wipe the rims. The rim can, since it's not a mess, you can just use a paper towel. You can use a damp cloth. If it's a sticky, greasy mess or whatever, then you can use a little bit of vinegar to cut it. But wipe the rim up real good. Okay, these are the regular mouth lids, flats, whatever you want to call them. They will sit on the jar. See the rubber compound in there? That is in the little flanger. That's what helps to seal it on the jar. So place it directly on the jar. And then you'll put a band on. Band is finger tight, just right. Try not to go too much because you can kinkle it. Kink it. Okay, sorry. I'm one-handed here, so Haley's going to be my finger tight just right so that she don't kinkle it. Mind you, it is hot, so she's using her short sleeve there. There we go. And then like that, it will go into the little canner. This is your jar lifter. This is your handle. It's plastic, it's spinny. This here is made to grip the jars, just like this. And then it goes into the hot canner. And then I'll fill it up. And you can see the rack on the bottom where it sets so that it has air movement through and under. Okay, so the jars are in there. And Haley's separating them out. It holds 7, only got 5 quarts of leftovers. So, whatever, that's 5 meals, I don't care. So anyhow, they're separated out, not touching in here. They'll be fine. Now it's time to put the lid on. Okay, so you see an arrow here. And then an arrow, can you see that arrow?
Yes.
Okay, that arrow, when you put the lid on, the arrows need to line up, point to point. And then you just twist it over, and now it's locked in place. Ain't going nowhere. Now I'll wait. It'll steam out the vent here, and this here thing will start popping. When pressure builds up, this stands up like so. And that's when it's time to put the jiggler on. They say let it steam, but you know, honestly, it steams forever. But that's quarts of vegetable soup has meat in it. Therefore it's a 90-minute pressure can at 10 pounds for my sea level. If it's pints, it's 75 minutes pressure canning. You can water bath it, but it's 3 hours at a full rolling boil. So pressure can, 90 minutes. Once the jiggler gets put on, that's when the time starts. When the jiggler starts jiggling. We'll go over that when it happens. Okay, so this here popped up. That means there's pressure in the canner. And if you can get the right angle, which I cannot, you can see steam coming out of the valve here. So that is where the jiggler sets at. This is your jiggler. This here thing is considered 5 pounds of pressure. And then the ring goes on it, and that makes it another 5 pounds of pressure. It doesn't actually weigh 10 pounds. It's just the amount of pressure that it does on the pan. Now, I don't start the timer until that starts jiggling. When that's done, that means it's reached the 10 pounds, and now I just have to maintain it for 90 minutes. Okay, so you can see it starting to move there, and hear it with the jiggle. So, now is the time to start the timer at 90 minutes. And that's all you need it to do. You don't need it to go crazier than that. So I always turn the heat down right off the rip there so that it don't go crazy. I just keep an eye on listening at it. to make sure it stays at the 10 pounds. I mean, it'll go a lot crazier if it's like higher, but you don't want to quit jiggling either because that means it lost the pressure. Okay, so the timer was done. I removed it from the heat. Removed it from the heat source just helps it to cool down a little bit faster, get the pressure out of the pan more. You can see that it siphoned some. That is with, it happens to me all the time. I don't know how normal it is, but it happens to me all the time. It's just a little bit of the broth that comes back out into the pan as it's cooking and boiling and doing its thing. Because you know it's not sealed yet. Anyhow, I started taking them out and remembered, oh yeah, we're supposed to be recording this. So use your jar lifter, pick up your jar. Right back up out of the water, just like you put it in there. And then we'll go set them on the towel to cool. Alright, so I got them all set down here on the towel. Space in between each jar so that it has adequate cooling space so that everything can cool down like it should, and then it'll seal. It'll start popping. That means it's sealed. But that's your veggie soup. Looks like it might need a little bit of broth, but you know, I can get that when I cook it. Opened up, add a little water to it, and I've got a meal ready to go. So there it is. Leftover veggie soup, ready for another meal anytime, pressure canned.